Hey, what up, T?
What's going on?
Hey, man, same as usual, man. Just getting into these articles, getting into these movies, man. It's been a busy week. I know you're a busy guy, so let's jump right to it and start off with a couple of topics. One that's really been hot, especially over the last week, has been this one right here, where it's Lord of the Rings. Now, you told me you wasn't a big Lord of the Rings fan. Did you see the original movies with Peter Jackson, the trilogy?
Oh, I never saw it.
You never
Well,
saw it?
you know what? I take it back. I saw a couple of things, man. I was big in the '80s, man. The cartoon they had, man, it was super dope, man. I like it, but you know me, man. I don't like these movies that don't have us in it. So we'll see. I heard this has some diversity, but apparently, like I told you before, we live. These people who are writing these fantasies,
So you in it for the diversity, man. You want to see a lot of diverse characters. You want to
It's
see.
not that I want to say it's not that I want to see it diverse. I want to clarify. So what I want to see is I want to see a good story, right? Would I like to see myself in it at some point? I want to see something that looks like me to know, okay, we survived whatever is going on, or hey, are we somewhere where this stuff is not happening, and are we in good shape? I want a little, just tell something. I'd like to see I'd like to see fiction become, factual and this kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like I want to believe the people, these writers in a room with themselves and they say, you know what, man, let's just see something big. Let's why not make the world be why not make a world that can be instead of could be the one that can be. And I think that would be great, But I love story, man. It doesn't necessarily have to be diverse, having said that. But I just want to see good stories and good character play, man. Good character play is very, very important because I can imagine myself, even though I'm not Indiana Jones, I can imagine myself as Indiana Jones.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, and
Like,
I
yeah,
feel the
I
same
can.
way with.
Right.
No, I was saying I feel the same way when it comes to any type of story that I'm talking about or telling myself. It's not necessarily about me seeing myself in the character or me relating to the character in some kind of way. Like you just said, I could see myself going on an adventure like Indiana Jones. That doesn't mean that Indiana Jones
Yeah.
has to be a black guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
You
Right.
know, I just
I'm so
I'm
glad you clarified that. I'm
yeah,
so glad you clarified that.
right. Yeah, it's about story. It's about relating and connecting to an interesting story. And this is the thing that I want to bring up about this because here we're going to talk about the Rings of Power. And I'm going to bring up the article that I wanted to kind of touch on because it's really related to what we just said. So it says here the Amazon's Lord of the Rings team knew they'd face Tolkien fan backlash over diverse casting. So and the part that I wanted to really address is this quote. So I'm gonna find it real quick, and here it is right here. So right here in the middle of the screen, you can see that it says, obviously there was going to be push and backlash. Tolkien scholar Mariana Rios Maldonado told Vanity Fair. But the question is, from whom? Who are these people that feel so threatened and disgusted by the idea that an elf is black or Latino or Asian? So my question is this, and because she makes this like point, well, it's the people feeling threatened by the fact that the elf is black or Asian or whatever. But my question is, okay, you just said it right there. Obviously there was going to be push and backlash, because the question is from whom. No, the question is, who did you make this show for? If you knew there was going to be pushback and backlash from this show based on how you wrote it, who was this show written for? Who was this show in? And that's a question you and I always go back and forth. Who's your audience? Who's your customer for this particular show? All right, because if you automatically know that there's going to be pushback from and it's been a lot of pushback. It's memes going all over the Twitter universe. It's all over Facebook. It's all over the internet. Everywhere you go, there's somebody saying something negative about this show. Now, full disclosure, I'm not a big Lord of the Rings guy. Like I'm not, I like the original movies. I think like the first two movies, I love those movies. And the third one is amazing as well. But when I first saw that first one and that second one, I was like, oh, this is awesome. And I kind of just fell in love with that universe and I enjoyed it. I wasn't so much a fan of the Hobbit series, those three movies that came after that. but I was like, okay, this movie's pretty good, and I got into it. I actually bought the novel, read it, but that doesn't mean that I'm some kind of a super fan of Lord of the Rings. But it does make you wonder, who did you make this show for? Because if you didn't make this show, if you made the show with this conversation or this statement in mind, that there was going to be pushback, that there was going to be backlash, then you didn't make this show with Lord of the Rings fans. It's like you've automatically straight up said, we didn't make this with you guys in mind. We didn't make this to make you guys comfortable or to expand this particular series. We made this so that we could do something else, which apparently is putting up black elves, Latino elves, whatever, and that's a problem I think in Hollywood right now, is that you have a lot of creators in Hollywood that are making shows, making television series, and they're really not thinking about their customers. They're not thinking about their fans. They're not thinking of the people that actually brought this thing to the level that it's at. Lord of the Rings is a big franchise because of the people that enjoyed it and watched it and followed it all the way through. It's not like a series they just forgot about, 20 years ago when the movies came out. So what do you think about this concept of, oh, we're just going to make a TV show, or we're going to make a movie, but we're not really paying attention to the fans. And as a matter of fact, we're going to go ahead and allow this. We're going to make this knowing that there's going to be backlash. What do you think about that?
So I think conceptually it'd be great to see, like, it is great to see diversity, right? I think the problem with what they're doing is they're actualizing things after the fact,
Mm-hmm.
and when you change the story and characters, people aren't necessarily um, they're not entrenched in that because that's not what they know. Because like, um, it's sort of like a story when you says, "Wait a minute, I got a story here, and I gotta imagine these characters, and it's awesome, and they're doing this." Um, you don't necessarily get that, right? You're like,
Mm-hmm.
"What?" Um, I feel like when you change the story, but stories have been changed throughout time.
Okay.
But when you add picture and you add narrative to things, people say, "Well, man, what's this got to do with the story, man? What
Mm-hmm.
what good is it to see myself as a black person or anybody who is an underserved person in where they want to see themselves and they're in the same position they were? It defeats the purpose. Like I was saying earlier, I'd like to see myself in a position that makes sense and it's cohesive with the story. I think that's what it is. I think when they make adjustments like they do on the fly, it's not always, keyword always, cohesive, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a cohesive story, right? Where you got something that needs to be cohesive that you are trying to piece together, right? Because if it's already moving along and then you trying to bump in there and say, "Well, let me force this character and let me force that character." Oh, you just need to you just checking a box. And that's terrible, man.
Right.
It totally defeats the purpose and it does not command the respect it does. It does not it should is what I'm saying. So when I
Yeah.
see this kind of stuff, and this is the one of the largest movie production in cinema history, right? So of
Absolutely.
course they got to throw things in it, great, but make it be sound, make it new age. Does Lord of the Rings have to be what we saw? Make a new kind of Lord of the Rings. At least if you say, "Hey, this is a new version,"
Well,
it
you
would
just
be
hit on
great.
something. You just hit on something. Like, if your goal is, hey, we want to have elves that are black and Latino and Asian and white and all kind of colors of the rainbow, and hey, I'm not going to get mad at that. I don't have a problem with it. Why are you got to hijack this particular franchise to do that? Like, why not just say, you know what? I have an idea of a story that I want to tell about elves and goblins and different types of fantasy creatures. I want to cram them all into a story, and I'm just going to tell it. Okay, you don't have to hijack Lord of the Rings to do that. What you could do is just write a new series. There's a ton of them. You got what's the name
It
of the show
totally
that you,
reminds me, dude. That
yeah,
totally reminds me, dude.
yeah.
Instead of DC,
Mm-hmm.
Detective Comics doing a black Superman. How about you use, oh, I don't know, what's his name?
Oh,
I
we gonna get
Why
to
don't you
that.
do
We
that?
are going to get to
No,
that
I'm just
because we got a
saying that
spot. We got a spot just for that because there's a story that
Right.
just dropped, and we are definitely going to get deep into that. Okay, but yeah, my final thoughts. I think that the Rings of Power and this entire, I think this entire situation with the Rings of Power, everybody's ripping it to pieces. You know, it's getting ratioed all over the place, and it's probably rightfully deserved based on just that one comment alone. Obviously, there was going to be pushback.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you got your pushback. I hope you're happy. Now people are going to really be on kind of tenterhooks. Hey, is this show even going to be any good? You know, everybody's going to be watching this. All right, but what do you think, folks, about Rings of Power and the way that this Lord of the Rings
In the comment section.
crew has set this up? Did they make a mistake? Should they have just gone ahead and did their own thing and not bothered with this franchise? Leave this franchise for the people that like it and move on and do
Yeah.
your own thing. You could create a Game of Thrones separate, you know? You could do, there's all kinds of fantasy
Yeah.
series out there. So, you know, let me know what you think
Yeah.
about that in the comments below. And T, let's get on to the next one. So, we were happy this week because finally, after 8 episodes, we got the finality of the Peacemaker, and yeah, the Peacemaker season 1 has come to an end. It was a incredible episode, and there's a lot of surprises and cameos and all kinds of various things. And T, I know that you have some comments about it that you're gonna let, but I'm just gonna read something real quick. This is an article. Let me get up to this. The Outer Haven. This is from the Outer Haven. Peacemaker season 1 review. James Gunn Unleashed. And I think that's a perfect way to kind of talk about this season of the Peacemaker. Is that James Gunn was just like unleashed. He was just doing whatever he wanted, you know. And if you read through this article, I definitely recommend it for anybody that wants to get a little bit deeper look at it. But it starts off with, you know, you can see here the Peacemaker opening, you know, the opening credits, and that kind of set the tone, right, for what we got for 8 episodes. So there will be some spoilers in this talk because we are going to talk about not only the ending of season 1, but the episodes coming forward. Season 2 was greenlit, so we are looking forward to that. T, give me your impressions of the Peacemaker season 1 finale, and just season 1 as a recap. What did you think?
Which one would you like me to start with? The
Either one.
finale?
You can
Then
start with the finale. You
uh
can start with the you can start with season 2, wherever you want to begin. Go ahead.
I think the season one finale was fine. I think it was great. Here's a prime example of a great show
Mm-hmm.
that is they're they're doing a little bit of virtue signaling, but the story's so good and intriguing that you don't it's subtle. And there are some moments when I do feel like they're trying to force an agenda in, but they course correct really quick. It's
Okay.
not anything long enough to make an impact as a viewer, and as you know, just being someone who's opinionated.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think the season finale was awesome, man. You got more than what you thought, and I think the surprise they put in wasn't even necessarily needed. It was just added layer on. It was dessert. Hey, if you're hungry, eat this. But
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What do we always say,
it
T?
wasn't needed.
What do we always say? Give them the what?
Give them the pickle. Just give them the pickle.
Yeah.
Just give them the pickle. And
And
this
then
is a prime example, and you'll probably see this throughout this video. It'll be a good example of here's what happens when you give them the pickle. You
exactly.
got a satisfied customer, and they're gonna return. You
Yep.
know, it's I don't the good times are great. But if you give me bad, I'm going to remember the bad experience because I have an expectation for you to deliver every time. So you
Absolutely.
make that promise as a business or as an entity that you're going to deliver on something. And when you don't, it makes things very difficult for me to trust you because I'm putting my hard-earned money and I'm investing in you and you're not able to perform in a healthy state of mind. You have all the resources you need to be successful and yet you aren't. I think that the movies I think that this was definitely not garbage at all. This is not basura. This is not. This is a great series,
Oh yeah.
intriguing characters, so many. little light bulb moments going on, and just very, very good, just very in tune with itself. Doesn't forget that it is a TV series, doesn't forget that it's a comedy, doesn't it, I mean, just the mental awareness in this show,
Oh my
where you got
God,
somebody
yeah.
battling with something, you're like, whoa, got people, you've got real life scenarios that are
Right.
going on in an episode that make you say, man, wait a minute here. There's a moment in the last episode where a man divulges what's going on with him, and you
Yep.
empathize with him as an audience to say, man, you
Remember,
know
I
what I mean?
told you that's one of the
Yeah,
strengths of James Gunn. That is one of his strengths, is he understands empathy, and he really gets the audience to kind of get pulled in for each individual character. Doesn't matter how bad the character is. Doesn't matter if the character is a tree, a starfish. Doesn't matter. He pulls you in and he makes you care. You got an eagle. People are saying. I read comments. People are crying about an eagle that got hurt. There's like this eagle. Oh my God! And then because they've made this eagle an important character, something that you can relate with, and that's the beautiful
that's
that's the
people.
beautiful thing about it. I want to read this part here. um it says much of season one is about him learning to cope with not just his past but with his dad, what people think about him, and even his very definition of peace. We learn that there's a lot more going on with here, and Cena, to the shock of many, I'm sure, will make you feel for him in many ways by the time it's all done. You're just talking about what you just said, is that this is a show that you actually care about the characters, you care about what's happening. It's not just special effects, it's not just jokes and comedy, but there's like real emotional weight to a lot of the episodes, or a lot of the things that are going into the episodes. Even the villains, they have some emotional depth to them. So let's get into spoilers, because I want to talk about that cameo at the end. You got the Justice League showing up. Oh my God. I don't think that I
Something
was
that was
expecting that. I wasn't blown away. Like, I was like, "Wah, I'm not that kind of guy." But I wasn't expecting that. Like, I was just going through it, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, oh, okay. We going there then. Because at first I thought it was just gonna be the silhouettes, and that's that. Okay. Yeah, we got Aquaman silhouette, Flash, Wonder Woman, and Superman. But then he walks past, and I'm like, all right, maybe that's Jason Momoa, but it probably is just a guy. And no, that's Jason Momoa as Aquaman, and there go Ezra Miller as the Flash. Um, they went there, and then they dropped again another classic Peacemaker joke, which was hilarious. I laughed at the joke. I thought that was great. And it kind of opens the door for stuff with the DC film universe. When you sit back and think about it, it's like, okay, if this is what we're doing, and if James Gunn's getting given the green light, like, this article is really just talking about, they gave him the green light to do whatever he wants to do. What are you expecting now, going into season two?
I'm expecting a bigger budget. I'm expecting
Mm,
good writing.
yeah,
He wrote an excellent. Come on, let's just be honest here. Even the part where in the show, you didn't even notice in the beginning that Adebayo was saying, "Hey, mom, call the Justice League," and then they show up at the end. The
yeah,
story is so good that you don't even recognize. You're like, "Whoa, that's a good story." When comedians go up and they just tell comedy, and they tell something at the beginning of the show, and then they tell it at the end, and you forget, holy crap, that person just dialed it back in. That's good storytelling.
great
That I
storytelling.
totally forgot that you said something that was relevant to me. Look, season two, I expect to be better than season one, even if it's not. They've already accomplished more than they were supposed to. This thing
Right.
came out of nowhere,
Yep.
and it was a great show.
Yep.
It was a great show. I only didn't like only one episode. I think it was episode four. I didn't like, but the
Okay.
rest of them, they were great. They were great episodes. They were directed well. They had variations in them. They were just great. This is a show that needed to be at least 13 episodes.
Oh
It's
man, it
it,
would have
it
been. I
listen.
think that the reason that they didn't go to the full 13, or at least make it longer, is because James Gunn kept it really tight. He didn't have to go very long to get this, to tell this story about the butterflies, to set up the Peacemaker, the issues with the White Dragon, his father, and now moving into season 2. I like the tightness of an 8 episode season, especially when each episode, and each episode was a good length too, right? Like 40 to 50 minutes. It's not none of this stuff like sometimes, with these series, you get like a 28-minute episode or a 32-minute episode. Like, no, full episodes. This was a good
It was
a
about
good
40
amount
something
of
minutes. I wish it
storytelling.
would have been long. I wish it would have been a little longer.
Okay.
Sometimes scenes dragged on that probably shouldn't have, but
Okay.
I nonetheless I liked the series. I like everything they were trying to accomplish here. I think to it's important to like make sure everybody knows that this is a good show. This
Yeah.
was not a bad show at all.
No,
I'm
DC
interested to
knocked it
see
out of the
more.
park, man.
Totally knocked it out of the park, and I
Yep.
look forward to what they have in the future. It's consistency with DC. That's all. It's all.
Yeah. That's all
That's
they
all it's
need.
ever been is
So I'm
consistency
a
and leadership.
so I'm gonna bring up a couple of what I'm looking forward to in terms of season 2, and this is gonna be just a real quick rundown. So for season 2, first up, what's ahead? I got Ghost Dad coming in, and he's gonna be a major impact. So at the end, Peacemaker is sitting on the little porch next to his dad, and he's kind of sitting there thinking, man, what am I going to do? And his dad is right there next to him, giving him the business. And I think that's going to continue. That's going to be a major plot point because now that he's got, he's killed his dad, he's killed his father, but his father is still haunting him. His father is still there. And this isn't going to be as easy as, okay, in order to get rid of this, terrible father, I put a bullet in his head, it's done. No, 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 no. We got more here. Peacemaker is definitely going to have to deal with a lot of what's happened to him. He's already, he has the weight of killing his brother on his head. Now he's got the weight of killing his father. What does that do to him? How does that change up his situation? So that's going to be the first thing I'm looking forward to, seeing what they do with Ghost Dad, Robert Patrick coming back. I think that's going to be amazing. Second is Amanda Waller on a rampage. All right, T. So you saw this, that little press conference that hit. Amanda Waller got outed. Like she got outed. She got put on notice. And what's gonna happen now? Can we do Suicide Squad movie? Can we have another Suicide Squad movie? Because, Adebayo just blasted her for everybody to hear. The whole world knows, like, hey, this is what she's been doing. So now it's a situation where, hey, what does Amanda Waller do? Can we bring her into this? What's her situation? You got any predictions?
I predict they'll probably do Project Cadmus,
Oh, okay.
season 2. That would
Okay.
be nice to see what they're trying to do. They'll do Cadmus. They'll bring in more characters. I
Mm-hmm.
think that what they'll do is they'll go from being a Suicide Squad. You'll see probably the next movie or the next iteration be Task Force X.
Okay.
Just because they want to maybe separate themselves from the Suicide Squad. The name is kind of, you know what I mean?
Well,
It's
they
split
always called
second, but it's
Task Force
probably
X. They're always called
yeah,
Task
but
Force
they
X.
that probably was why the movie didn't do well in the movie theaters the second time around because people are a little bit sensitive. If you'd have branded it as something else, it probably would have done much better. Plus,
Mm-hmm.
I would have sandbagged that movie to maybe what after like I would have said sandbagged until November, because you had a little gap there where there really wasn't anything that
Mm.
was focus centered. Um, I just think that they need to like moving forward, they need to really, really, really bring in more characters. I want to learn more about the villains. Do what you got to
Okay.
do to bring the villains in. The villain. What about what D? What have I been saying for the last 7 years?
The
I've been telling
villains.
you what
The villains are
the
the
villains.
story in DC.
The villains are the story, dude. The
You
villains
say
are
it. You're very consistent with that message. Yeah, that
villains are
definitely.
the story.
Yeah, I want to see if Waller is able to kind of. I don't know if they're gonna disavow everything. Like, she's just talking out of her butt. She don't know what she's talking about. I don't know if they're gonna do the disavow route. Are they gonna send some people after him? Like, okay, you want to play? Let's send some guys after her. Is she gonna kill her own daughter? Is
Well,
she gonna
it would
try
be
to
real
bring her
interesting.
daughter in? What's that?
But it would be interesting if she brought in like Count Vertigo. He can come in there and mess with people's minds. You know what I'm saying? And make them forget. You know, like
Maybe.
it's interesting to see because they have such a plethora of
Right.
a rogue gallery of villains that are most of their villains are they're not dumb criminals. They're thinkers, right? You
Mm-hmm.
got some with some brute strength, but the most of them are they have to outthink the person, right? Because they got Batman who's doing it. But like
Right.
they're very they're very very villain centered, and their villains are great, and their superheroes are great too, man. I wish you guys would go out and learn more about DC. DC is man, they are an awesome, awesome,
They're the
awesome
gold standard.
legacy
We've
right
always said it. They are the gold standard.
always,
All right.
always. No knock against Marvel. Marvel is we need Marvel. We love Marvel. Marvel's great, but the
Yeah.
world's a better place when DC and Superman are on top.
All right. So next, more DCEU cameos. Are you expecting to see other characters? You just kind of said it. Let's bring in some more villains. But is there anybody else that's in the DCEU that's kind of in that loosely connected universe that you would like to see get dragged into Peacemaker?
I would love to see Clayface.
No, no,
I
no,
would
no,
love
no,
to see if they can
no, no,
get
no.
Clayface.
DCEU. So established characters that have already showed up in the universe, in the
Established?
movies.
Oh man, established?
The ones
Uh
that they've established in the films, like so, like Harley Quinn, for instance. Would you like to see Harley Quinn make an appearance? No, okay. What about Bloodsport?
Bloodsport, yeah.
Okay, I think they may go there. And then of course, people keeps talking about the Enchantress from the first Suicide Squad. now,
Next you'll be
now
bringing in
consider.
the fire god. What's his
Whoa,
name?
whoa, whoa, whoa,
Oh,
whoa! Just consider that the Peacemaker did kill Rick Flag.
El Diablo. Mm.
No, no, no. I'm saying the Peacemaker killed Rick Flag, right? And remember, in the first Suicide Squad, Rick Flag, right, and the Enchantress, they had that little relationship. So is that something that James Gunn
No,
wants to touch on?
no.
I don't think he's going to touch on that either. But it's interesting. I'm wondering what other
See,
DC
there's
EU.
nobody I want to see. This I'm
Nobody.
sorry, folks. This segment, I'm just not in tune to this
All right.
segment.
All right.
I don't want them to,
You don't want them to mess that up. Okay, what about a new opening theme? Are we going to get a different one, like a different dance crew?
Oh, probably, probably, definitely,
I mean, they already got Mern.
most
Mern is out of
likely.
here, right? They got to bring somebody to replace Mern. They got to bring somebody to replace the what's her name that changed it to the butterfly and then the other cop. So yeah, so they got some people to replace,
Oh,
but yeah, the one that ended up playing golf. But I want to see if they can do anything interesting, a different song, maybe a different dance routine, or something just completely different altogether. You don't have to do another dance routine. You can just, hey, let's go ahead and keep, reinventing this whole opening credits thing. I think that would be pretty cool. All right, well, that's it. Folks, what are you expecting from Peacemaker Season 2? That's my list. That's the kind of stuff that I'm interested in. Are you interested in seeing more DCEU cameos? T's not. He doesn't want to see any of that. But, or is there going to be a new opening theme song? How do you think this thing is going to play out? Let me know in the comments down below. All right, T, let's move on to the third topic. I'm just going to get rid of that. I might bring back my article. All right, so next up, we're going to talk about Uncharted. And what might be a good moment for this right now, let me get to the article, is that Uncharted right now is expected to do $45 million this weekend, okay?
yeah.
Yeah. But is that a good number? Is that a good number? Because I think for this particular movie, and I did see the movie, my review is up. You can check it out. I did see the movie. I thought it was okay. I'm not, I wasn't blown away by it, but I thought it was okay. But I
You know
honestly
why?
wasn't expecting much, at least from the box
Here,
office.
D. Here. Let me chime on because I've been wanting to say this.
Okay.
I think this is another thing where hey, just giving them a damn pickle and they didn't give him the pickle. This movie is from what I understand. I'm not familiar with this character or this property.
Mm-hmm.
It's years too late. You didn't listen to the customer. You didn't do what you needed to do, and people have Tom Holland fatigue. No one went to go see Spider-Man to see Tom Holland. They went to go see Toby and freaking Andrew Garfield.
Do you
Like,
really think that people are tired of Tom Holland after he just
yeah,
starred
well,
in a
they never
billion
really
dollar
became.
movie?
No, they're not because he was an afterthought in this movie. And they don't want to see
Wow.
they don't want to see a boy play a man. They want to see a man play a man. And he doesn't come across as manly. The kid is a phenomenal actor the way I mean, it must take some to be quiet like that. But he's not knocking it out the park like that, man.
Okay, I think
He's
you got to
Peter
see him in this
Parker.
movie because he's different. He's a different. He's
Right. But that's
acting, actually
the
acting.
trailer sold me on what? The trailer sold me on something else. He's
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Oh,
He's
I mean, no,
Spider-Man.
no, 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 no. I think most people, when they see this, they're going to see Spider Man. They're going to be thinking Spider Man when they're watching him initially, but then over time, it's like, okay, because he's actually becoming. He actually acts like a grown adult, which is what I wanted him to act like in Spider Man, instead of acting like a kid that's uncertain of himself. He's very confident in this movie. He's
Is
acting
he
like a
aware?
confident man.
He's aware.
Yes, very much so. Very much so.
I
So
don't like that.
I think you would like his
Asking too
acting in
much
this movie,
for.
T is what I'm saying. I think you would like it. But this I did not expect. Even with the fact that it's like, okay, Tom Holland's good, blah blah blah. I did not expect them to do this well. And I think this is a very, very, very telling number for the box office. I think we're going to start seeing the box office take off like it did back in 2019 because for this,
Good. That's good.
it's great. It's great. But for this film, like I said, for a what I would call kind of a under the radar kind of a movie, but remember what I was saying about Morbius? They should have just let it roll out because they would have well exceeded this number, even if they brought it back out in January. I think that the box office is ripe right now. There's nothing else out. You got Death on the Nile. You got Moonfall, which is kind of falling off. They came out with the Dog, right? You see that trailer for Dog? Like, hey, okay, whatever. Hey, I'm sure it's a good movie and it's
The
fine.
person Tom Holland's Uncharted plundering 45 million
Yeah,
in holiday weekend
that's what
debut.
the article
This is I
says.
forgot this is a President's Day. This is a President's Day release. I didn't even realize that, dude. They've
It's
got
going
to
to
be
crush
far
it.
better than this, dude.
But this is a good start for this film. I'm just going to read something real quick because it was wait, where is it at? Or it might be in a different article. Um yeah, okay. So after anchoring the Marvel trilogy, Uncharted is seen as a test of Holland's box office appeal. You were just talking about that. Outside of spandex, the film marks his first starring role in a non-Marvel theatrical blockbuster, apart from last spring's Chaos Walking, which I don't think anybody saw, which sat on Lionsgate's shelf for a year and hardly made any noise in the middle of a pandemic. $45 million day gross would be more than a healthy indicator of Holland's bankability. What do you think this does for his career? I think this actually is pretty damn
It doesn't hurt
positive.
him.
No, it's positive. I
Yeah, it
think
doesn't
this
hurt him.
is, yeah,
It
I
doesn't
think,
hurt him at all. I don't think this. I don't think. Look, I want to see Tom Holland. Holland is the closest thing we've had in the last, I want to say,
yep.
40, 50 years to like a Kurt Russell. Hey,
Mm,
somebody young, growing up, I can see him play these characters.
right.
That's no slight to Tom Cruise. We grew up with Tom Cruise, great. But Tom Holland, we see him as a young boy. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah,
growing up. He was
right.
already a grown man when he was doing those things. Kurt Russell and the computer wear tennis shoes, like I mean, look, if you guys don't know about Kurt Russell is like,
He was one of the
man, in
great, like,
Hollywood is
young
like
actors of his generation.
great
Absolutely.
young actor, man.
Yep. And
Really,
what do
really
we always
fantastic.
talk about, T? Who's the young super stud actor under the age of
That's right.
30, that's on his way up? I know that you don't like, what's his face, the kid from Stranger Things. You're not a fan of that guy at all. Finn
That's
Wolfhard.
not working. That's not working.
I know that you're not a
No,
fan of his, but I think Tom Holland,
Howard Stern.
I think he's the guy.
He's Howard Stern.
Well, okay. Yeah,
Freaking Howard Stern.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but I think Tom is the guy that,
Oh yeah.
given the right
Oh yeah.
roles, he can go and start making some moves and start grabbing that leading man under 30 and then
Same
carry
audience.
that top
Audience.
shelf all the way through. What's up?
You don't have the same audience that you did before, where everybody was rushing to the theater to see that same person because they're like, oh man, they're gonna deliver, dude. The director's gonna be good, the actor's gonna be good. I'm gonna be satisfied with this. Even if I'm not satisfied in the first
Yeah.
viewing, I'm gonna be a repeat viewer and see it. you're not having that same the dynamics don't exist that were the same anymore because of
Yeah.
equity about people getting their fair chance. They're like, dude, you made enough money already. Come on, move. I told you, man.
Yeah.
Somehow they can't find any other blacks to play these roles or any other Hispanics. So the role goes to this person. Give somebody else a chance. You mean to tell me you can't find anybody besides Anthony Anderson, who looks weird, by the way? Good for him, but he looks weird. He looks weird.
T like to go off on these tangents and
Great
skip the
actor.
topic. Like, what are we talking about, man? We
No,
talking
I'm
about
just saying,
Uncharted.
look, I'm just talking Uncharted. I'm talking about you don't have anything to pass the baton, but this kid
Yeah.
makes the future look bright, man. Him and Zendaya,
Yeah.
they make the future look bright.
I
There are a
agree.
couple. What's his name? Timothy Chalamet. That dude is awesome, dude. Great actor, man.
Yeah.
Pass the baton. I want to see them do well, man. It's
Yep.
great. I mean, I just need more of them to stay really consistent. We fell off in the late '90s when it came to that, but
Yeah,
now
man.
make
Ooh.
do with better things, man.
Yeah, I agree. Well, right here you can see the numbers right there. Right now, 36.9 million worldwide. That's just from Friday. So the Saturday total's obviously not getting in. We're recording this on Saturday, so the Saturday total's not in yet. But a good, healthy international, 21.5 million, 15.4 domestic. I think Uncharted is going to be looking at a second movie. They said it would depend on how it does in the box office, if it's going to get a second film. I think it's going to get that second film just based on these numbers. If it can survive a couple of weeks until Batman gets here, Batman's looming out there, a couple of weeks out still. But I think Uncharted is going to make some noise, good noise this weekend. Next weekend it'll get its run, and then yeah, it'll get a episode, or excuse me, a sequel. All right. So, what do you guys think of this Uncharted stuff? I think that Tom Holland's going to be a bankable star. Definitely, he's someone that movie fans will start to see a lot more of. And if he can get away from the Marvel Cinematic Universe and really start stretching his muscles and flexing his wings, I think you're going to start seeing some different things and some positives from Tom
Definitely,
Holland.
definitely,
Yeah. All right. Jumping down in the
definitely.
comments, folks. We're gonna move on to the next one. I know T got to get out of here. All right. So it's next up. All right. So this one we you kind of gave the preview. You kind of gave the preview away of this one, but I'm gonna let you kind of lead the charge on this. So this article came out. 50 Cent, my boy 50 Cent, um, is developing a live action film based on a comic book hero called Xero. Now, again, full disclosure, I absolutely know nothing about this. And that's not even, I'm not even trying to like say that I am even remotely familiar with this character. I know nothing. And I know T doesn't know anything about it either. This is one of those kind of the, you have to be like super duper deep into the comic culture to know this character. I am excited to get to know the character and see what it's about. For one reason, and one main reason is it's an original black superhero. Something that me and you have talked about for a long time. Every time somebody wants to, hey, let's make Superman black. Let's get a black Batman. Let's get a black Spider-Man. Okay, what about the original heroes that are originally black? How about we put something together for those guys, And that's something that me and you talk about, T, and we've been wanting this for years. And oh, here's 50 Cent doing it. Like, what? Where's Marvel? Where's DC? Yeah, they put out Falcon, but then what did they do with Falcon? Oh, let's switch him to Captain America. Okay, thanks a lot. You took a black character and then you threw him down the drain. All right, then they come back with Black Panther. It's like, okay, cool, they got Black Panther, but then they won't even recast them after Chadwick Boseman sadly passes away. And it's like, okay, well, you got the character, recast them. Let's keep telling stories with this character. Nope, 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 not doing it. We're gonna go ahead and It's like, come on, guys. But I want to hear what you think about this particular character stepping in. I know you don't care about the character. I know you don't know about the character, so you can't care about the character. But the fact that you got 50 Cent, it took 50 Cent to actually push this particular, and this is going to be a live action film. This is not going to be, some kind of a WBCW show. It's going to be a live action film for a original black superhero. All right, T, go.
I think it'll be great. Thank you, 50 Cent, for bringing a character. Thank you for doing what DC and Marvel obviously couldn't do. Marvel did do sort of like that with Black Panther, but you know, successful movie that came out 4 years ago. Yeah, that's right,
Yeah.
folks. 4 years ago.
Yep.
Um, uh, it was in development for what? Development hell for over what 30 years. Um,
Probably.
I
Yeah.
think that, and here you got this guy that just hung up that side down from the freaking halftime show, who
Oh,
has a show now.
yeah.
Now it'll be interesting to see what they put in it. It'll be interesting. I'm going to support this because I want to learn more. I'm going to do my research before to see
Yep.
exactly. I think the focus trying to say just as a black character. I think just saying it's a character, man. You know what I mean? It's a character. It's a
And
character
what I
that
mean,
represents.
but what I mean by that, it's not just like, oh, we got to have a black character. It's just like, okay, it's the
Oh,
concept
we
of
definitely
why
hold
do.
on, hold
Wait,
on,
wait, wait,
hold
wait,
on.
wait.
We
Let me just
definitely need a
clarify
black
my
character.
point. Okay, let me clarify my point. The point is that you have a million, 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 billion original black characters already created. You don't have to give us a black Superman. We have a black Superman. His name is Icon. He's been around
It's
for years.
Creole and black.
You if you
There he
really
is.
there he
No,
is. No, that's what I'm saying. That you have original characters that you didn't. Oh, okay. Well, let's just because let's be honest. The only reason that they're doing like Black Superman, I think Michael B. Jordan is trying to push that out. The only reason that they're doing a Black Superman film is for one reason, and or TV series or whatever it's going to be, is for one reason and one reason only, because the Superman IP is something they can sell. People will hear Icon, probably like they're going to hear Xero right here, and they're going to say, "Who? Who's this guy? I've never heard of this guy." You know why you never heard of this guy? Because nobody ever puts him out there. Okay, you got to take time to build these characters. I've never heard of Xero. I've never heard of him. I'm interested to hear about him. I'm gonna do like you did.
I've
You
been
said
seeing.
T. I'm gonna start digging in. I'm gonna say, oh, this is a character I've never heard of. 50 Cent is thinking about putting millions of dollars into telling this character story. All right, it must be worth something. Let's go check it out. Let me look into it. Let me start digging down. Okay, why can't the powerhouse Marvel and DC do the exact same? Now, again, Marvel did, yes, do Black Panther. So we're going to give them credit for Black Panther. I'm not taking anything away from that. Thank you for making a movie about Black Panther, fitting them into the MCU. Great. Okay. But you have other characters out there. There's no reason to racialize and change characters' colors and this and that, which is what they have done, throughout the MCU. Hey, start telling some original stories. DC, exactly the same thing. Stop giving us a black Batman. I think Batwoman on the television show is black too, right? I haven't seen an episode. I haven't seen a single episode of Batwoman, because I have
I
no
don't know why
desire
that's so
to.
negative. Are they doing that because Jim Gordon happens? Jeffrey Wright is playing
Yeah, you got
black.
a
I mean,
black Jim
I can
Gordon.
see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, look, it's not so much about race. Give me the story. I think this.
Mm-hmm.
Look, give me a good story. Zero. Hey, I hope you have a good story, man. Have a good story. Don't make it anywhere near a terrible movie like Spawn or Meteor
Oh my
Man or any of those
God.
things. Just make a good movie, man. Good,
Jokes.
make a
Yeah,
good
they
movie
make
and people
jokes out
come.
of that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. No,
And nobody
100%.
wants to feel the pressure of the when they go on a movie theater, man. They don't. They going. I'm going to be entertained, man. I want to
Right.
see.
Right.
It's a theater. It's a theater.
I just want to have a
It's
good
fan
time. Right. I just want to have
right.
a good time.
And
Get my popcorn in my lap, start eating, enjoy the show, and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, if people are so hung up on, oh, it has to be a black character, I want to see a black character. Okay, fine. Take the black characters that already exist. Stop race swapping. Bring in originals, and
right.
let's go.
But let me be clear here. Let me be clear. I
I'm
want to
gonna let
make
you.
certain
I'm gonna
that
let you be clear,
everybody
T.
knows it. Be clear on this. Black characters are very important.
Oh, I'm not saying they're
Fine.
not.
Y'all put up. You can put up
Yeah.
any of you people out there
Yeah.
can put up with seeing us. That's fine. We need positive images and we need positive relationships to be consistent in
Right.
trying to achieve more. When you see that and you feel better about yourself, it is
Yes,
a
sir.
mental game that's happening. So I do want to see good stories, right? I believe in humanity. Do the right thing when nobody's looking. Have the integrity to stop doing these swaps of characters. Oh, so and so was it? No, if they're that, then let them be that, or make up a new character. You can
Mm-hmm.
make up a brand new character and you'll be fine. You know what I mean? Come
Yeah.
on. And I wasn't familiar with the boys. Now the boys did switch in. They swapped stuff, but I mean, That's not acceptable. Sorry. I'm not gonna give them a pass because I can't give one a pass. Then I have to give everybody a pass. They did that swapping stuff. They shouldn't have done it. It doesn't fit well with the narrative that people know. Stop it. Stop doing it. It's unnecessary. You cannot do it without saying, hey, this is an alternate universe. Do that. I'd take help. Wouldn't you be more willing to take an alternate universe? Oh, this is an alternate universe. I'd
Nah,
rather, remember
I
how
don't
they used to
even
do
want an alternate
DVDs?
universe. Honestly, I think
Give me
that
the director's cut. Give me the director's
I
cut.
think
Say,
it's
okay,
I think what they got to do is just everybody has to stop banking on the old stuff and really hoping like this thing will carry my weak story through. Like okay, I'm gonna tell a story. I'm gonna tell a weak story, and then I'm going to kind of put a Superman label on it, and that'll liven things up. That'll bring people into this weak story, and then make it familiar to them. Oh, it's okay. There's Superman. There's Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen. There's Perry White. Okay, then we're gonna have maybe Lex Luthor for the 30th time instead of bringing other villains in, but that's another story. You can really give a lot of weight to a franchise or a terrible story by bringing in familiar things. And what they need to do is say, you know what? Let the story stand on its own merits. Get rid of the label. Okay, now what do I have? Do I have a good story without Superman and all the other trappings of the Superman universe? Do I have a good story? Nope. Okay, then I got to go back to the drawing board and write a good story and not play these games where I'm going to, toy around with a franchise that people have a lot of invested interest in. And that's why I like about, hey, let's bring something new. And that's going to get you to the next topic and the final topic, T. But before I get there, folks, let me know what you think about Xero. Hey, educate me because I'm interested to know about this character. And what am I missing? What have I not seen? What have I not watched? What do I need to read? Because I'm excited just from this standpoint, and I want to dig in and learn more about it. I'm a movie guy, and this guy's coming into my realm of movies, so I want to learn more. So let me know what you think.
Mr.
Oh yeah.
Mr. Prosecutor,
Ah,
DA.
the DA, yeah, that's
What
me.
verdict? What verdict do you give this scenario?
Uh I get
Is
I
this a
give this
nothing burger?
no
Is
no
this
no no no.
guilty
It's
of being a
definitely
nothing
not a
burger?
nothing burger. Just from the standpoint that they're doing it, it's not a nothing burger. But it has to be a good show. Now I don't care how
Your story.
many black people you put in a show. If it sucks, it sucks. So I'm gonna call it like I see it. But I'm glad that somebody is saying, "Hey, let's bring some originality back to this thing instead of just coming to the table with the same old race swap stuff." I'm tired of that. I'm so tired of that. And I hope that Hollywood is starting to I hope this is successful. I hope this is great so that Hollywood can see that it can be done. All right, so last topic, T, and that kind of brings me to the thing that I was just telling you about, um, originality. And here we go. Our last topic of the day. I can barely see him because this is the best picture I could get. But that's Obi-Wan. All right, Obi-Wan Kenobi. The series got its release dates coming out. It's coming out May 25th. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. That goes without saying. I've always been a Star Wars fan, always will be a Star Wars fan. I know a lot of people are sour on Star Wars. They don't have a good reputation right now, and that's for good reason. Um, and I'm gonna go into why Star Wars has a bad reputation, but I'm gonna say it like this because I people ask, well, not people, a couple of friends have said, do you still like Star Wars after everything that you've seen? The sequel trilogy, it's it was what it was, and I defended every part of the sequel trilogy as much as I could. I tried to find the positives. But I look at Star Wars kind of like I look at being a sports fan. I'm a Laker fan, okay? So the Lakers
You
they
know,
ain't playing good
yeah.
right now. They're terrible right now. Um, and but I'm a Laker fan. I'm a fan. I'm through and through.
Stay on
Uh,
subject.
they may be terrible. They may have a terrible season, You know what? But I'm always be saying, hey man, okay, we got to get the right coach in there. You know, hey, we got to go get this player, get that player, make some trades. We got to do better in the draft. You know, I'm always going to stand on the positive side of that, even though I might be pissed off with them, but I'm gonna still be a Lakers fan. I'm not gonna say, well, I guess I'm no longer a Laker fan. It's like that fair weather fan type stuff. I'm not fair weather. I'm here for the long haul because there was something about the Lakers that got me at the very beginning. I'm a fan. It's the same thing with Star Wars. I love the Star Wars trilogy, the original trilogy. I love the prequels to a certain point, and I love the Clone Wars. I think that's like my Star Wars, you know, in a nutshell. Are there problems in Star Wars? Yes. There's been problems in Star Wars from day one. There's been bad writing in Star Wars from day one. There's been some shaky things in Star Wars from day one. Character development was shaky. You know, we live by this, you know, point of view storytelling where you can just flip and switch things at a moment's notice. So yeah, that's Star Wars. It's always been that way, but I loved it back then and I still love it today. Am I in love with the sequel trilogy and a lot of the stuff that they're doing now? Hell no. Hell to the no. But what I am is hopeful. Okay. And when they announced Obi-Wan, I was hopeful. I was like, yes, okay, we got something. But then I read this and it pissed me off. I got pissed off again. You want to know why I got pissed off? Because of what this title says. Obi-Wan Kenobi will duel Darth Vader more than once in the Star Wars series. It's becoming glorified fan fiction at this point.
Nope.
It's becoming glorified fan fiction at this point.
I'm standing by my word. Give him the pickle.
Okay. I get the giving the pickle thing, and a lot of fans are excited about this. There's a lot of Star Wars fans excited about this. But this is the problem, is that you don't tell new stories. You keep going back to the well. What's that?
They're not going to tell new stories. They're not going to tell new stories because it's risky. They're not going to tell any new story. They did not tell any new story in Game of Thrones. They're not going to tell new stories. They're not.
But why? Why wouldn't you tell a new story? It's like George Lucas gave them a bona fide slam dunk. He gave them the franchise on the 5-yard line, T. It was all laid out. Hey, all you got to do is just go forward. Tell new stories. Stop digging back into the past. We saw what happened with Boba Fett. We just got through watching Boba Fett. We saw what that was like. It's like, look, George Lucas gave you guys the ball on the 5-yard line, and you threw an incomplete pass, you got sacked, and then you threw an interception. It's ridiculous. It's like at some point in time, tell new stuff. Stop rehashing. Stop dragging. Okay, are we going to drag Obi-Wan? And again, look, I'm going to watch the series, okay? Don't get it twisted. John Williams is directing, or not directing, he's composing the themes for this. So the great John Williams, they pulled him out and said, hey, John, we need more work. And I love John Williams as far as a composer is concerned, so I'm all in for that. And I'm gonna watch the series, and I'm gonna try my best to just see the good in it. But and it may be great. It may be a great series, but it still pisses me off because it's not the direction that Star Wars needs to be going in. Okay, they would be better if they just took some of the very core concepts of George Lucas and moved it 5,000 years into the future. That's what would be better, because it's like, okay, get away from everything that you guys want to keep making. I'm sorry, T. Go ahead. You got something to say?
That's brilliant, dude.
I mean, wouldn't it be? For me personally, that's great. It's like, oh, okay, we're going to talk about Star Wars. We're going to push this thing into the future. We're going to go tell new stories, develop new characters, you know, everything with the spirit of George Lucas behind it. You know, it's like, hey, George, and a matter of fact, why don't they just go ahead and bring George back? Like, George, you don't have to come back and, you know, just consult with us. And I know Favreau and Filoni do a lot of that. But it's like, hey, man, come back. You know what? Just sit in the room every day with us, every single day, you know? I don't know if there's bad blood between him and maybe some of the people that's still running Lucasfilms that shouldn't be there. But at the end of the day, it's like, aren't you trying to make the fans happy? Aren't you trying to give the fans what they want? And yeah, the fans are saying, we want an Obi-Wan series. But what we really want is good storytelling. And the reason why they keep clinging back to the old stuff is because that's the only place where good stories are being told in this franchise. Move forward. I like what they've done with The Mandalorian. There are some problems with The Mandalorian, like I said, just like there's been problems with other Star Wars properties trilogies in the past. You know, I mean, the prequels, obviously, those weren't the greatest things. George got roasted over the coals for that. But I liked them because they, you know, they felt like Star Wars. It had a Star Wars feel to it, you know, and it was different. It was different. It was interesting. Okay. And a lot of those ideas, if in the hands of somebody that was just a little bit better in regards to different parts of the way George Lucas tells story, if he just said, hey, man, fix this dialogue a little bit, you know, clean that up a little bit, and let's not have so much of a rushed ending. You know, let's let the ending really play itself out for all of for this entire trilogy, because the ending felt rushed. If they really had somebody that did that, I think the prequels would have been great. But right now, Disney has the ball on the goal line, and they throwing picks, they're missing field goals. It's like, what's going on here? And I'm sorry, T, that was just my Star Wars rant, because I had to get that off my chest after reading this, just because it's like, look, Darth Vader shouldn't be dueling Obi-Wan anymore. Okay, it should have been one duel and one duel only. They wanted to bring back, but they're doing this for fan service because the fans are wanting. Oh, I want to see Hayden Christensen again. Hey, I love Hayden Christensen for what he did. If you want to bring him in some flashbacks and show some this and that, great. But I didn't want to see him dueling this guy. I did not want to see that, because to me that's just like, okay, now we're just playing to the audiences, and they're not trying to tell a good story anymore. They're just playing for the fan service, and I'm just not with it.
Uh,
You don't have to say a word, T. I can tell you're disappointed, like I
I just look. I've gone on and on about this with you, man, and I'm just I'm just done. I'm done. I'm done.
am. All right, man. All right, but that's gonna
I'm
wrap it
done.
up. I know you got stuff to do um later on today, and I'm gonna go ahead and get to some other stuff I gotta do. I got some writing to do, and other different little issues.
Writing for what? For
Oh,
what?
I got another. Well, actually, I gotta release a book, and then I gotta finish writing. I'm working on the sequel to the Felix Fontana first book, so I have some more work to do with that. Just some editing, some light editing. But then yeah, I'm about to produce another book, put that out there for sale. So yeah, I just got a lot of that stuff that I got to get caught up on. I've been trying to get the YouTube stuff going. It's just been a long process. And I've been neglecting some of my writing, so I got to get back on the ball with that, because I got a couple of people that have been saying, "Hey, man, when's the next book coming out?" So I want to make sure I can get that to them. But anyway, T, I appreciate you coming on once again, talking movies with me. And yeah, we're gonna get back to it next week. Hopefully, you know, we're gonna start ramping up for Batman. Batman's gonna be out in a couple of weeks, so we're gonna start ramping up for that, because that's gonna be a big release. And then there's gonna be a couple of other movies that are coming up, and we're gonna start kind of previewing those as well. Any last words?
I think they should check out some of your writings, man. It's listed on Amazon.com.
Appreciate that.
Check out Derek. He's got a great thing going on there. He's also got segments. You know, he's the DA. He's got to come up with a verdict on whether or not something is good or not. I'll be coming shortly with my stuff as well. Just got to get some time to sit down and do it. I mean, and always nice chopping it up with you, Ann, about these subjects. I think that you can obviously see the passion in what we're trying to say to you guys. We're both DC guys, not taking anything from Marvel. Man, I wish you could see in front of me, man. I got a Black Panther hanging up right above me here. But um, folks, I'm not a Star Wars guy like that anymore. I'm totally checked out, man. After Rogue One, I checked out, man. So I mean, hey, you guys check this thing out. If you like
Yeah.
it, like it. If you share it, share it. Hey, give us some feedback. Let us know. We're here for you. We want to improve, and just want to give you some takes. And I promise there's more to come.
All right. Thanks a lot, folks. We'll see you at the next one.